Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Small Talk. I think you're going to find today's guest very interesting. He is a business owner at the Veganist BC. He's also a feline advocate and founder of Abby Cat Daddy. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Logan Bryan. Welcome to the show, Logan.
Thank you, Nancy. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's my pleasure too. Okay, so let's start with your the Vegan BC.
Yes.
Now, I believe you're located in Chilliwack.
Yes, we're just down on Wellington, a couple doors down from the Bookman.
Okay, so what made you decide to open that?
So I myself went vegan about 4 years ago, and it was very frustrating to have to drive to Vancouver and Surrey and order everything online just to get basic groceries that non-vegans would take for granted, like mac and cheese and different types of foods and such. So that was always been something I wanted to do, is open a grocery store. I had worked in retail almost my entire working life, so in management positions, so it wasn't a huge stretch for me to think of that. And then the last year, it really kind of hit home a lot. Last year, I lost one of my own cats, actually my first cat that I ever owned. And so things kind of, my perception on that everything kind of changed. And my partner and I decided to, we wanted to work for ourselves, and the Veganist was born. And so, yeah, that's really how that happened.
Very good. Now, what kind of products do you sell?
So we have a lot of different products. So we sell a lot of groceries. We have vegan cheeses. We have a whole cooler of vegan cheeses. We have fake meats. We have vegan ice cream. We have regular groceries, so like jam and peanut butter that are all vegan. Chocolate bars, hot chocolate, marshmallows, drinks, pasta. We have mac and cheese. We have skincare products, clothing, and cleaning and household products as well.
Very good. Now, I know some people who are not vegan believe that vegan food is not tasty, but I think that's correct, right?
It is the furthest thing from the truth. And I always kind of laugh at that thought process, because what non-vegans use to make their food taste good is plants. Your spices, your herbs, your seasonings, all that is vegan food. So you're using vegan food to make your meat or whatever else you're making taste good. So the thought process behind vegan food not tasting good, to me is it's laughable. But 10-15 years ago, vegan food in the way of processed food was very boring. You thought of tofu and maybe some soy stuff. But in the last couple of years, with more and more people going vegan and considering plant-based meals, there's been more money invested in ensuring that those products stand up to the test. We have such good products. My partner would not have gone vegan had food not tasted good. I don't think I would have lasted as long, or I don't think I would have gained weight during COVID if food didn't taste good. So yeah.
Now, how much healthier is it to not eat meat?
So that is very dependent on who you ask. A lot of doctors are now researching more and more into it. The one key benefit with veganism is the lack of cholesterol, right. Which is a huge issue for North Americans specifically, because we eat so much dairy and meat, which are the two highest food groups for cholesterol. And we have the highest heart attack rates and heart issues and all that stuff. So that is the biggest thing with veganism, is that there's zero cholesterol in our food, and we don't need to consume cholesterol, because cholesterol is actually grown in our body. Right. We ourselves produce enough to sustain, so we don't need it. And for me personally, I was taking vitamin B12 and iron pills on a really regular basis, because I'm anemic and have other blood issues. Yeah. However, since going vegan, I'm now off my medications. I take pills once every couple months for a day, and then I'm good. Whereas I don't have to take 3 pills a day.
Right. I just have to say personally, like I do eat meat. I'm not a big meat eater, but I often have meals that don't contain any kind of meat products whatsoever. And as you said, they can be very, very tasty, right? Yes. You know, so that myth is like
Yeah,
So passe, shall we say.
exactly.
Oh, now you look like you're a fairly young man,
Yeah.
right? So I think that it's very brave of you to open a grocery store when you're young. And I think it's also very admirable. So congratulations for doing that.
Thank you.
What kind of reception have you had?
So we have had a pretty good reception so far. We've had a couple people who walk in and realize that it's vegan and they've walked out, and that's totally fine. We understand that veganism isn't for everyone. And then the better part of our clientele that come back aren't vegan at all. They're vegetarian, they're what we call omnivores, people who still eat meat and dairy, who are gluten-free, because there's a lot of gluten-free products in our store that from the overlap, or people who are just looking to reduce their dairy and their meat intake. And so those are the people that really come to those stores. So we're really open-minded and making sure that they feel comfortable coming here, and we're not what's the word? Extremists in our views with veganism, right? We understand that everyone has a starting point. Everyone has an expectation of what they want to do. Obviously, as a vegan, I want everyone to go vegan. That I can't say no to that. However, I know that that's not going to happen, and it's very unlikely that the majority of the people will go vegan. However, I will support and I will help people do whatever they can to minimize or to reduce their animal consumption.
Very good. Now, what's the difference between a vegan and a vegetarian?
So vegetarians refrain from meat and certain cheeses, because certain cheeses actually have an ingredient called rennet, which is an ingredient from the cow's stomach lining, so the animal has to die.
Okay.
So they won't consume anything like that that requires an animal to die. Whereas a vegan, we abstain from all animal products, including honey, because it is a product that they use to feed themselves, and then dairy and eggs. We won't eat fish. Some vegetarians do eat fish. Food coloring, red color 40 is from the cochineal beetle, which is disgusting, to me at least. I'm like, I don't want to eat some bugs, as well as vanilla flavoring. Natural vanilla flavoring is actually from the beaver's rear door glands.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's really interesting.
So I always have to look for vanilla extract. It has to say extract, and then I'm safe.
Okay. Okay, that's the difference. Okay, I got it. When you said vanilla, I was thinking of the vanilla bean, so okay, very good. Now, as you said, you're on Wellington.
Yes.
What are your store hours?
So right now we are closed Mondays, and then Tuesdays through Fridays we are 10 to 6. Saturdays we're 9 to 6, and Sundays we are 10 to 4.
Okay. Do you have a website or?
Yes. So www.theveganist.ca is our website, and we are also on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at The Veganist BC.
Okay, so it's www, because I want to include that when I do my thing. Okay. Now let's talk about your other very strong interest and founder at Abbey-Cat Daddy.
Yes.
So talk about that for a little bit, please.
So I got really into cat rescue. I've always wanted to be a cat foster and TNR, which is trap, neuter, and release. I've always been super interested in it. But during the time that we actually lost our cat Leo last year is when I really got my feet in the water, we'll say. And it gave me a new, along with everything else going on, it gave me a new perspective. And I started working with a bunch of different rescues local to the Fraser Valley in Abbotsford. And I realized that their thought processes and their stances on a lot of animal welfare issues didn't really align with myself. And I'm not sure if that's because I'm vegan or whatnot. But I realized that I couldn't continue to support those exact rescues in the capacities I was doing. So that's when I started Abbey-Cat Daddy. And it's really funny because originally the Facebook page was supposed to just be like my persona and share cats. And the name was made when I had a little bit too much wine that night. So it wasn't supposed to be this huge thing. But when I decided to leave those rescues, that name kind of continued on, and then we added the feline advocates part to represent the foster groups and the volunteers that I work with. And we have been doing some amazing work, at least I think so, ever since then. So we've officially founded it in February. And we actually work with the SPCA on a lot of different issues. So the SPCA helps fund our TNR, which is the Trap, Neuter, Release program. So we, a lot of times farmers will call us and be like, hey, I have like 10 cats on this farm and they're having babies and they're causing issues. So we'll come in, we'll trap them all, we'll neuter them, we'll vaccinate them, we'll give them ID and ear tips so we know that they have been done and we don't have to do it again. And then we'll take the kittens if they are young enough, and we'll get them healthy and adopt them out into living homes.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing with TNR is it actually helps the health of that community, of the cat community, because they're no longer have those hormones to reproduce.
Right.
They're not sharing STIs, and there's less testosterone, so they're not fighting as much.
Yes.
So the risk of HIV or FIV and all those different viruses that we vaccinate against are reduced. Plus, we're vaccinating them. And a lot of the issues people complain about cats, the noises and the urinating, when you spay or neuter, those typically go away. So a lot of those issues go away when we do that. And obviously we're reducing the overpopulation issue that we have.
Yeah, I think it's great because I personally known people who didn't have their cats neutered or spayed and had no intention of keeping those babies.
Yes.
You know, which makes no sense to me. And their excuse was I can't afford it, but I think you can always ask for help from somebody that would be.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah, so I think it's very important. Now, have you yourself, since you lost your cat, did you get another one?
Nope. So we already have other cats that we own. And it was just the first one that we had that he had passed away. And now I don't feel the need to because I have so many cats in my care, and almost every single day I have another cat in my hand, and I still get just as excited. I'm like, oh my god, this cat's so cute! Look at his face. Yeah. Yesterday I picked up 4 kittens. They're about 10 days old. Their mother had unfortunately been ran over. So the guy was reaching out to be like, hey, this kitten's been here. Can you help us out? I just buried their mom. And I was like, yes, on my way. And I picked them up and brought them to a foster who's bottle feeding them now. Right. And they were adorable. There's 2 white ones and 2 black ones. And the black ones are just like the perfect little chubby cheeks. Their eyes are opening up, and the white ones look like little baby polar bears. Oh my they're God. So, like, I think they're the cutest. But in the next set of kittens I get, I'll be like, oh, these are the cutest.
Yeah, I wish I live in a no pet building, which was a mistake on my part, but it is, because I used to share my daughter's cat. Her cat would come for sleepovers. Which we thought was great, One of the things that I personally like, well, I like all animals, but one of the things about cats is like they're total different personalities. My daughter's cat and I would play tag. We would chase each other around the house, which is so much fun, right?
Yeah, exactly. Our cat Leo, who unfortunately passed away, he would play fetch. So we would throw a ball and he would go run it, grab it, come bring it back to you. We had these little catnip sticks that he would do the same thing with. He was a character. We think he was part dog somewhere in his brain.
Yeah, I think they're very trainable because I had taught my daughter's cat to sit, and it just took about 3 tries and she got it like almost immediately, right? And people just think they're not trainable, but they just don't take the time.
People like to approach training with them with that thought process of dogs. They're different species altogether. Yes. And they need to be treated as such. You can't just assume that something that works for a dog will work for a cat. There's what's his name? Something Galaxy, the cat daddy, who actually part of why I named myself Happy Cat Daddy. He has a TV show, he's on YouTube and everything, and he talks about training cats to do certain tasks and changing behavior methods, and it's very amazing to watch, and it's a really good reference. And that when people reach out to me saying they have issues with their cats, I always send them to that website. Very good.
I don't know if you'll agree or disagree, but I think cats are very, I don't know, intuitive. Like I had 2 step cats. Like when I married my husband Bill, he had children and he had 2 cats and a dog, so I call them all my step children and pets. And one of the female cats, like if I was going, I would say to my husband, watch what happens. I would tell my husband that I'm going to go into another room, and the cat would go ahead of me
Yep.
before I went all the time. Like every time I pointed it out to my husband, that's what happened.
Yep, they are very intuitive and they pick up on patterns really easily.
Yeah,
But people just don't see it the same way as a dog would.
yes.
If I'm making food in our kitchen for our cats, my cats in other rooms know that their turn's next. But if I'm in our cat room where I do all of our intake for the rescue, my cats won't react to that because it's not their food. Which is really interesting to see it like that. They know that sounds coming from this room, it's for me. If it's coming from this room, it's not coming from me.
Very good. Yeah. No, do you have a website for that?
Yes. So that is abbycatdaddy.wordpress.com.
WordPress.
Yeah.
.com. Okay. Okay, great. So I think we're done. We'll leave it there. We're just about out of time here anyway. So just stay on camera. I just want to talk to the audience for a second. So if you live in Chilliwack or anywhere close by and you're looking for some really great vegan food, check out the Veganist on Wellington here in Chilliwack. And obviously it sounds like you have that Logan has a huge variety of products. So I think you'll be happy with that. And also I will include the website for that. And if you need information or looking for something to do with your cats or somebody else's cats or whatever, you can contact them for that. So all of that information will be included. So thanks for watching the show, everybody. And I hope you'll subscribe, and that always helps me a little bit. And take care, everyone, and peace out.